Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I will be breaking down the week of 1st of March when finally momentum has started kicking in. As you can see, the market was consolidating for a bit now, and it was literally getting on my nerves, and there were also no high probability trade setups for so long, and now finally momentum is starting to kicking in. As the daylight saving is also on USA, the daylight saving is also going to be on, and now finally the economy, all the investors are now finally out from their holiday mood, right? So starting from the weekly, my weekly bias going to the next week is bullish. Clearly we can see according to how the previous two candle closed, and also you can argue in a bullish trend right now. You can argue that the market is still in this downtrend, obviously, right? But now it is making a lower high, and it's also this supply zone is mitigated, but it is not mitigated like we need it to, right? So that's the reason. And also according to how the previous two candle closed, my bias going to the next week is bullish. Every trade or any trade that aligns with the bias being bullish will be considered as higher probability in the upcoming week. So let me quickly show you the DXY bias, as I always compare the GBP USD with DXY to confirm my bias, right? As you guys know by now, you guys know all the things that I do. If you watch my videos frequently and you take notes and genuinely take it seriously, you guys know by now how I trade, what I do, and how I'm profitable, right? This is the low that goes the higher high, you can argue, but even though the market has been bearish for months now, so obviously this move here is irrelevant. Obviously it's relevant, but right now it's irrelevant according to how the market has been played out on recent months. And also seeing or watching the previous weekly candles, we can see the market has been bearish for some time now. So going on the next week, my bias is not one of the clearest. As you can see, this is a doji, it is an indecision candle. Even though according to how GU was and EU, I decided my weekly bias on DXY being bearish, meaning all the trades that aligns with all the daily bias trades aligning with weekly bias being bearish will be considered as higher probability if what we want to see our entry model setups. Okay. In trading, the most important thing is patience. Once you have mastered patience, once you only take the higher probability setups and you know what you're looking for, not every day is a trading day, then nobody can stop you from being profitable, bro. Me, I know about the technicals, I know about the fundamentals now. All I need is patience, and I need to wait for that A-class setups. Not every day, not every move. You don't want to catch every single move, bro. Trust me. Finally, after 3 months of very weird market conditions, March 1st week, volume started kicking in the market. Beautiful trades throughout the week. Okay, so I will also show you why I have written this. Whereas Wednesday, the bias was not clear, so no trade. I will also show you that. And on call out, trading Monday on this week was valid because the bias was aligning with the weekly bias being bullish, and also don't hesitate to take the trade if you are following your strategy and plan of action. Obviously, you need knowledge in life. Knowledge is power, but knowledge is potential power. Until and unless you have a plan of action to use that knowledge, your knowledge is an asset, right? So you have to put a plan in action to use that knowledge so that you can monetize it, so that you can make an income out of it, right? That is how the world works. So keeping that aside, right now we are making this video to obviously make the weekly breakdown. So the weekly bias is bullish, and now obviously if it's bullish, this is my draw of liquidity, this supply zone. You guys know why I mark this supply zone, because the market is going up, and if now the market starts going down, then I will mark the demand zone somewhere around here, right? It's simple. My strategy is simple and very, very effective. Many people are profitable using the same strategy, and I can do the same. So now, without wasting any time, let's go on the video. On the daily, obviously the weekly bias is bullish, but I need the daily bias to align, right? So the daily bias on Friday closed as a bullish candle. As you can see, the market was bearish here, lower highs, lower lows, and on the daily, quote unquote, it is not shifted structure yet, but even though, as I said, the market is bullish for some days, and you can also assume this to be the higher low, right? So assuming that I was looking for buys on Monday, and which was also aligning with my bias on DXY being bearish to sweep this low right here made on Thursday. So that was the plan. On Monday, I was looking for buys after how this Friday candle closed. And also, if I show you the news on Monday, there was no news, as you can see on both of the news calendars. So that is when I go to the lower time frames. On DXY, I will only go for the bias. That is when I start to go on the lower time frames. On the 4 hourly, mark the previous week highs and lows, and on the 4 hourly there is nothing as of now. The market is still trending between this low and this high. In the middle of the week it breaks structure obviously, but right now it is still bullish and it is doing fuck all. So that is when I go to the hourly. The 4 hourly was not clear, so I went to the hourly. So I will not start from here because I'm experienced. If you're a beginner, I will suggest you to start from here, reading the market structure from here. Right now, the most important thing is this high and this low right here, because the market is trending between these zones. On Friday, it went down, changed character here to the upside. This is a change of character, but I don't know why I didn't mark this. This was a change of character right here on the hourly, as you can see. And this was the hourly demand I was looking to trade from, right? So obviously, if I'm looking for buys, I wait for the Asian range to close. And this was a continuation setup. According to how I watch the markets on the hourly, I don't watch the markets anymore on the 15, because if you watch the markets on the hourly, obviously you will take less trades, but less trades means that you will take the high probability setups. So at this point, our timing is 1:30, right? So exactly at our time, there was a fair value gap demand zone. It was a continuation setup, and also it made sense because Friday closed as a bullish candle. There was huge buying pressure, and this was also SMT. SMT means the DXY went and swept the Asian high, whereas GU didn't sweep the Asian low. And according to my bias being bullish, it makes sense that GBP USD now doesn't have to go and sweep the previous Asian low before going up, because DXY has already done that. So keeping that in mind, and I took the trade here after the fair value gap got filled to the T and demand zone got mitigated here, and obviously the rejection candlestick that we look for, and it was a winning trade, right? So it was a winning trade. So going on Tuesday without wasting any time, there is nothing more to show to you guys. Obviously, how this Monday candle closed, I have also journaled this trade on Monday. It was a beautiful trade, but yeah. Now let me show you the trade on Tuesday. Obviously, according to how this Monday candle closed, you can argue that there's a supply zone here on the daily because of the change of character. But until and unless the market shows me that it wants to reject, I am not considering that. On Tuesday, also there was only one news, being the USD ISM Services PMI, which was on 8:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So this is when I go to the lower time frames again, the same drill, perform the same drill again, and yeah, kinda on the 4 hourly still the same thing, nothing changed. And also there is a fair value gap here. Obviously there was a fair value gap here which gets filled in the week. I will also show you that we were also targeting that fair value gap. Obviously on the hourly, now let me show you. I have already done the analysis, right? So going on Tuesday, I'm looking for buys. That's enough. Knowing that is enough. So if I'm looking for buys, obviously I will look for demand zones, right? So this was the demand zone I was looking to trade from, and also the price action was so clean. It was making highs, lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. It made sense to come down, make a higher low to then continue heading towards the upside. If I draw my FIB tool from this low to that high, let's see where the retracement happens. The retracement happened to the 70 to 80%, which is a very, very healthy retracement, and filled up the fair value gap, mitigated the demand. And yeah, the rest was history. The entry was on M15 exactly at our timing, being 1:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. I gave my stop loss room to breathe. Always give your stop loss room to breathe, because the market can come down and retest the zone, or you can also say inducement, and scared fearful traders right here. And eventually the trade did play out in our favor, and it was also a winning trade after many months, bro. I'm very happy seeing this. Monday and Tuesday, we got 2 consecutive winning trades after many days. That shows that the strategy doesn't have any problem. It's not the problem of the strategy, it's the market conditions. Market conditions were not good on December, January, and February. We didn't got trades. But now, as we can see, the conditions are getting better. We are getting trades. That's it, bro. And this H4 fair value gap has now got filled 80 to 90%, right? So we also have to keep that in mind, and it's also rejecting. So going on Wednesday, my bias was not that clear because of how this candle closed. Obviously, this was not a bullish nor bearish candle. It was an indecision candle. But on DXY, it closed as a bullish candle on Tuesday. So on Wednesday, it will be very tricky to look for sells on DXY. That is looking for buys on GU, because also it makes sense because the H4 fair value gap has got filled to the T, and now it is also reacting, giving a reaction from this daily supply zone, right? So Wednesday, I decided not to trade. That is the exact reason why I've written this. Wednesday, the bias was not clear, so no trade. So I will directly skip Wednesday because I didn't trade it. So what's the use, right? And also on Wednesday, there was non-farm employment change. Fed Chair Powell testifies, Joel's job openings, and there was no news on London, so which we could have traded obviously, but we didn't. I chose not to. And on Thursday, there is main refinancing rate euro 645. So London, there is no news even on Thursday, and London there is no news. What a week, bro. Even there was no news throughout the week. This week was meant to be winner. So now on Wednesday, this H4 fair value gap is totally decimated and filled, and now clearly also this supply zone is not getting respected. According to how this Wednesday candle closed, obviously it looks like it's going above. And also this dollar right here, this demand zone on the dollar that I've marked because the market was going down because it has changed character, right? So I have to find out from where it can potentially reject from. So this was the demand zone I was looking for. And going on Thursday, obviously I will look for sales according to how this USD candle closed. Look, I want to make one thing clear. I will not trade every day on the live markets. This is just a back testing, right? Not every day is a trading day. Not every day you are gonna win. So don't get into delusional. Don't get so much delusional like that. Yeah, in life you should be delusional, but in the charts you should be logical. Okay. So this was the low that caused the new high on the 4-hourly, breaking structure to the upside. So you can argue this was the break of structure to the recent break of structure. The market was literally trading between this low and this high. Finally, it has broken now. The bullish bias is becoming clearer and clearer, stronger and stronger. So this is when I went to the 4-hourly breaking structure to the upside. This is when I go to the hourly. And on the hourly, you can see this is the low that caused this high. So we need a higher low to then continue to the upside. So even now, I'm looking for buys. On Thursday, I wait for the Asian range to close. The Asian range closed, something like that. And obviously, the same drill, I am looking for the Asian low sweep, the typical setup, Asian low sweep, this demand mitigation, and then boom. So was looking for that, but didn't happen. Always, as I said, always you are not gonna get your setups always. And also it was a continuation setup, right? The market did went up, but look, even the continuation setup you are not gonna get always. Look at the momentum, look at the volume, look at the buying pressure right here. Also the M15 fair value gap here didn't got filled, and this demand zone, the continuation demand zone didn't got mitigated. So that shows that buyers are fully in control of the market right now. And look at this, it's just going up and up and up. That is when I go to Friday for looking for the Friday bias. Until now, the Thursday candle is the most bullish candle out of all. As you can see, Thursday was very, very bullish. Obviously, it can come back, rebalance the price, and then go up, right? We can make sense. Also on Friday, it was not high probability to trade because it was NFP, and we know that NFP CPI tends to manipulate the market, and I have seen that a gazillion of times in the market happening. And yeah, on the 4-hourly, this is the last low that caused this high, so this break of structure can go here, but I don't know why I didn't do that. So okay, we can fix that. And on the hourly, if I'm looking for buys, there is a fair value gap here, there is a demand here, so we'll have to wait for the okay. So I have not shown you the DXY bias, but DXY is obviously bearish because GU is so much bullish. It makes sense for DXY to be bearish, right? There's a fair value gap on the hourly, demand zone on the hourly here, but you know that I adapt to the Asian range. So according to how the Asian range closes, that is how I'm gonna mark my demand zones. So going on to Friday, if I show you my trades, if I show you my analysis, this was the latest or recent fair value gap and hourly demand right here. And this was the 330 candle as I was talking about. There is a huge amount of liquidity here, right? So sweep of this liquidity, fill up this fair value gap, and this demand mitigation would be so much clearer, and I would take that trade any day. So on the hourly, I waited for the Asian low to get swept. Asian low to get swept, which got swept, I guess. I don't know. Did it get swept? So we'll have to go to the M15. Bro, it was so exact. It's confusing. So this is very early. So we don't take trades on 11:45, as you guys know by now. And yeah, I waited for this position to get induced. This was also an inducement. Okay, I didn't notice that. There was an inducement here. Inducement. There was also SMT. SMT means GU didn't sweep the 330 candle, but DXY did sweep the 330 candle. So that's also an SMT, which resonates with our strategy and gives us so much confluence, right? And the rest was history. Literally, this was a winner. If it is so good to hear it, but yeah, if only I could hold this trade I took on Monday, right around here. If I was able to hold this trade throughout the week, I would be up 1:30 risk to reward. This is the power of this strategy. If the market conditions are good and you are trading with the bias and you are taking the trades regardless of how you feel, bro, in 1 week you can make literally, yeah, you can pass. In this week, I guarantee you a good trader would have passed so many Prof Firm challenge accounts. And even me, I would pass Prof Firm challenge account because the move literally happened through the strategy. I have to patiently wait for the market to do something like that and capitalize on this. This happened on March 2024. Now it is April 2025, and I can guarantee you that something like this is gonna happen in the future, and I'll be ready for that.